Welcome to Expedition Self with Sam Parrotto, a lifelong learner and entrepreneur. Sam is the creator of the growth-producing worlds of Expedition Self, where seekers hang out so they can live a conscious life of love and personal fulfillment. As she shares 4 decades of studying, guiding, and teaching, you'll learn how to go inside and build an empowered relationship with the self. Ignite your self-development process with Sam.
Well, hello. I can't believe it. I'm actually on a screen and visible, and I actually get to talk with you about growth work in an entirely new way. For those of you who have been following along over the last 3 years, I have been without a face on the radio. And so tonight is a premiere first moment. And gosh, I have a lot planned for you. So we will see. I am known for cramming too much in too small a space. So hopefully tonight we'll get a chance to go through all the little pieces that I have planned. I would like to tell you a little bit about it. My vision is that this feels like a variety show about growth work over the whole hour, and that the topic that we choose each time we do one of these kinds of shows is actually growth work that you could do after the show. So tonight's topic, which is all about extraordinary ordinaries, we have planned not only things right in the show for you to experience, but also afterwards. You can go to expeditionself.com/TV, and you'll find a whole bunch of resources and downloadables and coloring pages just to help bring the whole conversation to life. Okay, I'm going to take a big deep breath because this is one of those hours where I'm going to need to actually be patient. You know, when I get nervous, I start going really fast myself. All right. So tonight's show, these are kind of the bullet points about it. It's a show about valuing the valueless moments and noticing the ignored nothings, naming the forgotten, reframing your idea of progress and achievement, and challenging the concept of achievement. And so hopefully in this hour, you will find those 5 goals or intentions that they some way or another speak to you and connect with you. And you come away valuing the ordinary moments just a little bit more. Okay, so gosh, I want to just talk a little bit about consciousness. And the thing about that word is, I think people have lots of different meanings for it. But I would like to share with you because we say we're live streaming consciousness, you know, I would like to share with you what I think it actually means. So, you know, as beings, right, we have all these amazing complexities that live within inside of us. And so you have the intellectual part that's both the conscious and the unconscious, and then you have your emotional being, and you have your physical being, and you have your spiritual being. And so to me, what consciousness is this idea that more of the seconds and moments of life you have a full connection to your whole self with. And of course, I don't think we're wired really naturally to do that. I think life gives us lots of good reasons to close down, shut down, numb out, compartmentalize, push aside, minimize, diminish, right? And so the thing about consciousness is you have to engage in it. You have to really want to go see that which you have not discovered before. And so that's another one of the characteristics of consciousness, is that when you're working it should produce the revealing of mysteries about you. It should help you understand something new about how life works or how you relate to yourself in life. In such a way that it feels like a discovery. And so that is, again, one of our missions here during this hour, is to just help you just a little bit along to stay on your growing edge, to find your growing edge, to hunt it out, so that your sense of consciousness increases. And of course, why does that matter? Because when you are more conscious, you have much more personal resource to bring to this life and to bring to the world that you live in, and to actually causing and creating the things that matter most to you. So, yes, it's a big deal. And it's like one of my favorite subjects, and which is why I can't believe I'm sitting here on the screen tonight talking to you about this in an entirely new way. Okay. All right, part 2. So there's probably 5 or 6 parts through the evening, and we're even going to go on Instagram, and I'm going to share one of the posts that I thought was interesting on Instagram. We're going to talk in detail about Extraordinary Ordinaries, and then we're going to, this is one thing I just want to set up, we're going to talk a little bit about the importance of timelines and why these timelines matter in terms of us being more conscious and building a more robust relationship with ourselves. Okay, this is also live. I just want to let everyone know. And this is one of those moments where I kind of can't believe it here. But we're live streaming on all kinds of platforms. So I'm just having the sense that like there's this virtual experience happening, but I'm actually still talking into my computer. Anyway, what did we see? It looks like Stephanie, she says, I love this topic. Nobody talks about the ordinaries anymore, right? And that's what life is made of. Absolutely. For sure, for sure. All right. So in each hour, we're always going to take a little bit of time to talk about communication and how we bring ourselves to that communication. So one of the things about what you choose to speak about and how you speak about it is that it really shows what's going on inside of you. The way you put your words together, the pieces of data that you decide to pull in, the talking or not talking, right? All of that is really the way in which you show the world what's going on inside of you. And so one of the things that I think is really important has to do with how we communicate emotion. And I've been doing a lot of corporate work most of my life, and I can't even tell you the thousands of ways that people create to avoid saying they have an emotion when they actually are completely having an emotion. It's quite the craft that I think we at some level unconsciously do. And I think it's a byproduct really of how we came to relate or come to relate to our emotional being, right? Like, how do you say, I feel disappointed without everybody in the room having a big time reaction to that? Or how do you demonstrate really a big time of a big aspect of like enthusiasm and excitement without someone else saying, you got to mellow out, right? And so what I'd like you to think about when you think about sharing your emotions is the idea that you can say, I think and I feel. I think and I feel. And a lot of people, we get confused about the idea that we think a feeling is a thought and a thought is a feeling. And one of the telltale ways that you will know this is if you say, I feel that, you're actually probably stating a thought. Because a feeling is something that you put inside of you, it comes from the inside of you. And it's really something that you register. I also think a lot of us think our feelings, like we recognize a feeling, but we don't actually let it be present in the body. And so one of the like hacks that I think helps me stay very, very connected to my emotional experience is that I can say, I think about this. This is a thought. This is something that's tangible or concrete or coming out of my mind. And then I can say, and I then feel nervous, which I definitely feel nervous tonight. Or I then feel embarrassed, or I then feel exposed, or these are all good words for me tonight, right? The idea that I can be in touch with what that feeling is. So then you could say, what does nervous feel like? right? I want to be able to connect with that. Now, what we've done is we have provided on the website, and I think I have just a visual for you to see this here, which is, it's called the Communication Deep Dives, and it's just a worksheet. There it is. And if we could bring it onto the screen and make me small. Thank you, Chris. So if this idea of the Communication Deep Dives, you can go to the site, and on this are questions like, when I was little, it was unacceptable to show this feeling. Or when I see other people show this emotion, I think, and then you get to fill that in. All right, we can move that off the screen and come back. Thank you, Chris. So the reason we want a worksheet like this when we talk about I think and I feel is that, now this is important. A lot of times we formed a not great relationship with very specific emotional moments. And when we formed it, we decided that they were bad. Or we decided that something about it was unacceptable, or we really didn't want to feel it again, right? And so when that happened, we blocked our ability to do I think and I feel about that emotion. And so now we're going out into the world, interacting, wanting to build important relationships, wanting to create things that we feel good about. And yet we've got these pieces that are left in our toolkit that we don't have any access to. So I want to say that working on your emotion, working about feeling, wanting to pay attention, that this is not something that's about weakness or gooiness or squishiness, right? No, this is something that's really about getting access to more of who you are. You get access to more of who you are, you get to bring that out into the world. You get to make choices from there. Okay, I think I did enough on that subject. All right, so that was part one. And now I'm gonna actually share my screen and go to part two with you. Now let me see if I can actually get this up for you. Oh, yeah, there it is. All right. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen. Okay, I think I'm doing that. Allow to share window, screen. Okay, here we go. Let's hope this works. All right. And I'm trying to actually go here. There we go. All right. And so I'm going to share with you something. Whoops. Wait just a second. I'm going to try to get this reworked a little bit. I collect a lot of stuff. There we go. Okay, I'd like you to listen to this. All right, I'm going to come back here and I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And I'm back here. So the reason that I thought, and I collect lots of things, and I do want to let you all know that we will give you that the person that shared that, Gabriel Mattei, and his video is Psychologian Johanna, and we'll share that with you so that you can follow her on Instagram also. But I want to talk about why that matters, the authenticity thing, and especially why it matters when we're talking about extraordinary ordinaries. And the last piece, of course, is those emotions that you decided somewhere along the way that maybe you didn't like or you didn't want to be affiliated with. Authenticity is made up of all of that, right? Like being able to say, I feel something. and really collecting all of the pieces that are part of the ordinariness of life. They are what contribute to you being an authentic you. And of course, what is that really about? Inauthentic means we're striving to be something for someone else or something we think we should be, right? Instead of going inside, being in touch, and staying connected to it. So I wanted to share that particular. I love him. If you haven't found him before, he's worth watching and learning from. Got a lot of great stuff to contribute to us. Okay, we're going to go on to the next thing. So the next thing is I just created, just to get us started in the conversation a little bit more, is 10 ways, 10 in-between moments. And you can go ahead and put it on the screen, Chris. So 10 in-between moments. So we have 9, right? Many moments of repetitive work. 8, opening the mail. 7, incomplete projects. You know, those things you start and don't finish. 6, numbing out, right? Forgetting to feel, forgetting to stay connected. 5, daydreaming and fantasizing. Definitely a great in-between moment I love. 4, conflictual conversations that seem to go nowhere or round in circles. 3, breakdowns and failed relationships. And 2, there we go, hugs and eye contact. There we go, hugs and eye contact. And the last one are all of the in-between moments. All right, so just so you know, I think you can download that list of 10 ordinary moments. So why do I think that those 10 kinds of ordinary examples fit? Well, it's because we have a tendency to only count the pluses. We have a tendency to only actually go after the stuff that looks like it's additive, like it's building on your life. Like those are the places that you count as meaning something. And if you notice, a lot of those things that I put on the list, some are mundane, but some are just things that you don't even count. You just think they're just part of living, or you just did and forgot that you did them. And yet they have everything to do with extraordinary ordinaries. All right. So on that note, we're going to actually dive into the topic a little bit more, and I've prepared quite a few notes to actually share with you. All right. Let's see. I'm just double checking what we've got going on. It looks like we're having some. All right, there we go. All right, we're still all right. I hope you'll all have patience tonight. I am feeling like I'm managing a lot of different pieces, and when I did the radio show, it was I pretty much ran through one whole kind of script through the whole time, you know. And now what we're trying to do is make it so that it's got variety, and you don't have to listen to the same kind of orientation through the whole thing, and that it also triggers and makes contact with different parts of your mind, right? That's what matters to us. Okay, here we go. I'm going to pull my notes over here so that I can actually read and look at them with more attention here. Oh, before I did that, I found a quote from Ann Cushman, and it says, "My practice can remind me to bow down to all the intimate, ordinary details of my life, whether I'm picking smashed raisins from the floor by my son's high chair, or opening my email with the same sort of tender appreciation." All right, that's a good quote for us to get started with, right? All right. So how you hold your life is everything. How you relate to yourself is the point, and actually how you relate to anything shapes how it goes for you. And so this is the moment when I'm asking you to reclaim these unimportant, non-essential, unproductive moments with intention. And I'm inviting you to value every minute detail of living in your day. So, you know, when preparing for the show, I found an interesting article in the New York Times by Lissa Jensen, and it was called Why Mundane Moments Truly Matter. And she says, everything we associate with self-reflection is just as likely to be found in the mundane as in the exceptional. And she said, honoring the seemingly trivial is a way of saying everything is potent and everything is useful. Everything is useful. Every breath matters. It is you who diminishes and reduces it into something that seems unimportant. This is what we're talking about tonight. Every single moment that you arrived wherever you thought you were trying to arrive, every single moment, even the moments that looked like they had nothing to do with it at all, had something to do with you getting where you were going. And it's so important that you understand that for yourself. All right, let's take a scenario. So you've accomplished something. You wrote a book. You found a new place to live. You got your child set up in school in a new way. You generated yourself a new work opportunity, or you put together a really cool social get-together. So when you think about this accomplishment in your mind's eye and in this moment, I invite you to review all the moments that got you there. And this is what I notice when I do it. I will see like the final moment, and I will see the proactive work that was done, right? I might see some of the tough moments, right? So the hours when I worked really actively, you know, the engagements, I might remember an important conversation that I had. I will definitely zero in on a big moment, like if I wanted to give up or I ran into some big obstacle, right? But the moments I would like you to think about that go along with it are the ones where you slept instead of worked. You procrastinated. You took the day off. You worked on 3 other things that you were more interested in. Maybe you went outside for a walk, right? And beyond that, you were taking care of other things like brushing your teeth or doing the dishes. You know, the moments that look like they had nothing to do with this thing that you wanted to accomplish. You know, maybe there was a day. I know I like to lay in bed, but I don't know that other people do. But maybe there was a day you just laid in bed and you read a novel. I do like to read novels. Instead of working on whatever the thing you thought you should be doing. Recall that moment when you had to go to the doctor or the dentist because you lost a filling. And the person you spoke to at the front desk, I don't know, maybe they were responsive and friendly. Maybe they weren't. Or maybe the getting of your car serviced in the middle of a Saturday morning, or the stopping to make cookies for your child's back to school party. You see, you have this overarching big thing that you've been striving for, but then you have all of life. And every one of those moments, had it not existed, would not lead you to where you are. And I'm talking about your whole life, right? And I feel like it's super important to understand that all of it is here. All of it is there for you to look at. Sometimes when I think of it as like fairy spaces, right? When everyday life was happening, right, was going on while my conscious mind thinks it's very active, right? I'm focusing on my grandiose big plans. Notice how much you take all those times for granted. Maybe you feel burdened by them. Maybe you feel as if you were in some way inadequate because of the way they went. That's really the thing about what Gabriel Maté was talking about, is that we don't like to feel inadequate, so we also don't actually stay in touch with feelings that might have us feel inadequate. And then we actually look at our life through the lens of these supposedly they were inadequate moments, right? Moments that don't matter, that don't get you anywhere. So how, when you think of them, right, you're not appreciative or grateful to yourself for those unactions or the thoughts or the events. Like, here you are standing in this moment, having achieved your life, right? Having achieved this time, whatever those things are that you brought to this moment, no matter how like they met the goal or not, right? And the parts that you that don't seem like they helped, and the circumstances that appeared to be unimportant or inconsequential, or that are related to as nothing, empty, unimportant, wasteful. When you lost your way and wish you hadn't. You see, it's as if you got there only on the stepping stones that lifted you somewhere, rather than counting all of the water space in between those stepping stones, right? Or the stone that was beneath the water that you actually got too deep. You fell in the water, right? And so what goes with this is a way of connecting with you that excluded much of what makes you whole. All right, so in this moment, we are going to go on break for just a couple minutes. And when I come back, we're going to pick this conversation up. And after that, I have just a very short go inside experience. And hopefully you will stay around for that.
OMTimesTV.
In a world filled with constant noise and distractions, where finding meaning feels like an endless search. Introducing Daily Dispatch, your daily pathway to inner growth and self-discovery. Each day, receive a personalized self-growth prompt. Crafted by a seasoned growth expert with over 40 years of teaching personal mastery. Join thousands of professionals who have found clarity and purpose with Daily Dispatch. Start your free trial today and unlock a more meaningful life, one day at a time. Daily Dispatch. Discover your inner world. Live more consciously in every moment. Get your free trial at www.expeditionself.com/daily-dispatch.
Imagine becoming a super influencer. Reinvent yourself, invest in your brand, and then manifest your success with a robust spheric approach. OMTimes Media and Broadcasting offers a unique and multifaceted way to become the spiritual and conscious influencer you deserve to be by putting your message across our powerful platform with its proven record of integrity and excellence. Through our produced shows, OMTimes offers the opportunity to become a social media TV personality, a radio show host, an OMTimes magazine columnist, and a syndicated podcaster, all in one shot. By live streaming your show on OMTimesTV and broadcasting it across the extensive OMTimes radio and TV networks, you become more than a host. You become an ambassador and a force for positive change. OMTimes. Open yourself to the possibilities.
If I could be you, and you could be me for just 1 hour. If we could find a way to get inside each other's minds. Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes. Well, before you abuse, criticize, and accuse, walk a mile in my shoes.
Well, we're back. You know, I have been listening to that commercial on the radio show for the last 3 years, and I got to actually see it visually. It was very touching. I love the idea of walk a mile in my shoes because I think that's one of the things that happens when we're less conscious in ourselves and we don't have as much of a relationship with our emotions. It's very difficult to have empathy. And unless somebody helps us understand what it's like to walk a mile in their shoes, we miss out. Anyway, I just was taken away by that. So, all right, let's come back here and pick up where we were. We were talking about extraordinary ordinaries. And I hope it's starting to make some sense that I'm really challenging you about how you treat yourself with the ordinary things. And how you actually diminish their importance and their significance. And hopefully this is kind of starting to settle in and drop through the psyche and all the cells in your body. And maybe you have some thoughts coming up, or you have some moments that you can remember that are ordinary, that are looking for some attention. All right, so here we go. I'm going to pick up a little bit more here. So if I were to try to build a house and exclude parts of that house along the way, say like a few nails here and there, a shingle off the roof, some flashing around a window. I'm hoping I got that right there. You know, the house, it might look like it got built, but there are things that are missing in it. And when you get to an accomplishment where you have left out all of what you deem as inconsequential or wasteful effort and time, you actually get there without the whole of you. You're only rewarding, you're only celebrating the aspect of you that's the dynamic, action-oriented, the one that, right, makes stuff like go to the end. So why am I so big on this point? Well, because we're all walking around with less than for ourselves. And it is actually right in those mundane moments. We only count the like +1 stuff, not the neutral, not the passive, not the slide backwards. And even that, if we count the slide backwards, it's only because we're emphasizing the rising above or facing the challenge and winning and feeling good about it. It's not appreciating it for its actual equal contribution to the moment that looked like it was progress. So with each accomplishment or extraordinary moment in your life, you're not giving just due or credit to the many ordinary moments that were seemingly unrelated that got you there also. And this means you're undervaluing yourself and you're valuing only that which looks like the gain. You sell yourself out by this. And it renders you with less of yourself to go to the next day or month or year. And let's think about it. What happens when you take on the next thing and you've only valued the stuff that's the winning parts of you, and the parts that you would normally ignore, that something doesn't actually quite work, and then where are you? Well, now you have real reason to believe that you weren't successful. So you know that article I referenced in the beginning, the writer Lissa Jensen, she quoted Greg McKeown. He's the author of Essentialism, the Disciplined Pursuit of Less. And this valuing, he says, this valuing of the everyday moments, it helps us hold on to what is important. And so he shared an anecdote about his grandfathers. And he said one hadn't left any personal record of his life, and so they lost everything. But the other had captured ephemeral moments through short notes, like 1 or 2 sentences, every few days for 50 years. And he said that became the connective tissue. So I'm suggesting that this connective tissue isn't just with others or family, like outside of you. It's actually with the self, right? And that this connective tissue has a kind of substance building, an investment quality that produces a return to you, a place where what's inside gains capacity and depth to deal with life more fully and actually carry oneself, to relate to ourselves as being intrinsically valuable. And so when we think of ourselves as intrinsically valuable, there's something extraordinary about that. because we make different choices. We see possibilities for ourselves that when we don't feel intrinsically valuable, they don't look so possible. So this is a moment for you. If you notice the place where you're always valuing only the next accomplishment or the positives of that, or working to take care of the everyday and missing the magic and importance of this mesh that binds our lives into something that's special. Maybe you look at life and feel like you missed the mark at times. It wasn't a missed mark is what I'm saying, right? Or you wish you'd done more of this or more of that. Well, whatever you were doing less of is equally important. You know, maybe you're seeing the time you're spending in your work as simply a way to make a living, but not recognizing the significance that goes along with saying good morning to the receptionist on the way in, or working with your coworker, or staring out the window while eating your break time favorite yogurt. So right now, in this moment, you have an opportunity to gather yourself up, to reclaim those lost parts. Let's try this. Go back a year and think of a day in January, and then another day in February, and then another day in March, and continue on through the year, month by month by month. And picture your energy and aliveness levels at the beginning of these months, like when you start, wherever you started, whether it was January or February. And in each month, now imagine that you're taking a cup full of your energy and thought and feeling and vitality and throwing it on the ground. So with each month, you're losing some of that, a cup of it. Now, with those thoughts, come to this moment in this time and notice how much your energy is available to you. Think about what you're happy with and what you've done over those months. So when you come here, when you've dumped out that cup because you didn't count all those moments, you have less. You have what you tackled or what you wanted to create potentially, or you made life work, but you lost parts of yourself along the way. And this is something that if you can see it differently and reverse it, then you begin to hold on to those cups of vitality and self-expression and ordinary moments that actually matter as much as, if not more, than the extraordinary ones. See, you don't realize it, but by valuing only the forward moving and the productive and the accomplishment, you lose pieces of you, and you're diminishing yourself in your attempt to meet your need, right? All those needs we have to feel loved and acceptable and successful and included. And at the very same time, you're missing the real source of your value. All right. I hope that this is clicking for you. Oh, I see somebody. Tracy, she says, the slide backwards gave me more valuable soul treasures than the greatest moments. And I wish I would have realized that about 30 years sooner. Oh, absolutely, Tracy. Thank you. That's absolutely true. They give our souls something special, right? And we get to actually see these moments as it making a difference. Awesome. All right. So now what I'm going to do is we're going to play a video with some sound, and I'm just going to talk you through just a very small little exercise. Okay, you can make it bigger. There you go. So in this moment, I want you to, I'd like you to find a place on a beach where you are walking in the water, whatever depth you feel comfortable. And in your hand, you have a scoop and a bucket. And as you're walking along this beach, this beautiful sound of the water and the waves rolling and rocking, take your scoop and reach down into the water and fill it to the brim. And as you do that, think about the moments that you forgot and drop it in your bucket. And then walk a little more, soak up the sand on the bottom of your feet, and scoop up another and drop it in the bucket. And when you start to feel a rhythm, know that you can scoop it into the water over and over and collect all the moments that seemed as if they didn't matter. But now you can think about that they did. The doing of life, the making each day work, it has everything to do with how you stay whole in this new moment. And you want to feel grateful and appreciate all these moments that you probably don't all remember as you're scooping down again, picking up another sloshing cupful of your life and putting it back in the bucket and appreciating where you've come from and all that it took to get to this moment. The easy stuff, the hard stuff. All right, I think we can close out that sound. There we go. And so tonight, when we're done with this call, boy, I would really love to see you pull out a journal and sit down and write down whatever came up. And actually, if, I talked a little bit fast through that, but you can turn on some water music and imagine yourself scooping it up and putting it in the bucket, scooping it up and putting it in the bucket. Okay, big sound. Now, I had a sound ready to go for you, but it didn't quite work exactly, but I'm going to show it to you. Look at, isn't that cool? That's the wand, and it has a wand sound to it. And so for the next show, I'll try to make sure you can actually hear the sound to go with it. All right. So, okay. Now what I'd like to do is take a deep breath so we can actually switch gears just a little bit. So, all right. And if anybody would like to write in and share what was one of the things you picked up with your cup of water, boy, I would love to see it and be able to share it with the community as we're all together. Yeah, that cup scooping up. All right. So what I'd like to now share with you is just a little bit about our community. And I'm going to have a couple of videos, or not videos, but pictures show up. And I want you to get to see that we have created a virtual community. And the reason that we did it, there we go. Yep, you can share that. There we go. There it is. This is our virtual community. You can see lots of people in there. And we created this community because we know that to stay on your game in growth work, you have to stay in a conversation that keeps encouraging you, right, to value the mundane moments, but also to keep that flashlight on yourself. And so we are, over the coming months, we're going to be actually developing this community because many of them do not have names. We need help. Many of them don't quite have backstories yet. And I'm hoping that you will find it to be a super cool way to engage with us, is to help shape our community's experiences so that then we can actually create some wonderful role play and dramas and actually show how growth work can look in an everyday life through our virtual community. So if you could show the next one. Okay, so this is Araminta. She's the one we've done really the most work with. And Araminta, if you can show the next one, she's, this is her kind of personality sheet, right? And she loves to garden, and she lives in Tucson, and she has a family of four children and a husband whose name is Umberto. We did actually name him. I wanted to just tell you a little bit about her. She's named Araminta, which turns out that was Harriet Tubman's name. And so part of her story is that her mom wanted her to have that name so she'd always remember that people need a champion and that courage is quiet, can be quiet and strong at the same time. And her mom worked in the Peace Corps. So I'm just giving you just some little bits here, but this is some of the stuff we're going to be working on as we get to know you, and you get to know what we're really trying to do over here at Expedition Self. And this was the last one. So this is her family picture, and all of these wonderful drawings were created by Mandy Noam Cobb, who is our resident artist and creative extraordinaire. Oh my gosh. All right. So I just wanted to tell you about that because we're going to be doing some crowdsourcing about how to shape their stories and bring them to life. And I'm hoping that all of you will feel like you'd like to help when we ask. All right. Okay, let's see. We are trucking along here. So the next piece has to do with the importance of timelines. And so the part that I want to say inside of timelines is that if we're, my lips are getting dry. Okay, all right. We're doing good here in this hour. To me, timelines are one of the things that you can give the mind that provides comfort and safety, but it also at the same time opens up more understanding, more vision, more perspective on the patterns of your life. And so when I talk about timelines, I'm talking about looking at life through a very certain kind of a lens. And as how do I say this? So like one way is you might say, I want to know all the houses I lived in. Right? And you actually spend time thinking about what those houses were. Or maybe you focus on major transitions within family members, right? Members that were born, or members that moved away, or somebody that all of a sudden, a long lost relative that you didn't know. So you might show that. You might look at it through friends. Right. So this idea is that we are going to spend a lot of time on timelines, and we're going to spend time. There's a downloadable for you to see. Actually, will you show the downloadable, Chris? Make it bigger. There it is. This is something you can download right on our site at expeditionself.com/TV. So you can go work on it yourself. Okay, that's good. I think everyone saw it. We're all right. All right. The idea is that it's the thing that you don't get done one and done. And there's different angles that you can work it inside of. And I just would like to share with you one of the reasons I think timelines matter so much. Or one of the things that came out of my work. So when I was 17 years old, I had scoliosis, and I ended up having a rod put in my back over like 6 vertebrae, and I was in a body cast for 7 months. So the way I always processed that in my timeline was that it happened, and then I connected it with other experiences like in school and what was going on for me. And so there was a lot of emotional material that actually went with it. And about 3 weeks ago, I started working with a new somatic movement person. His name's Benjamin. He's known as the movement monk, and I will share that too if anybody's looking for someone. And we were working on just breathing, and I got to this spot where I was supposed to, here's what I was supposed to do. I was supposed to put my hands like this. I'm supposed to breathe in and then out. and after 3 of those, I'm like, I don't want to move. I don't want to do any more of this. And in that moment, it was all of a sudden like a different part of my timeline showed itself, which was that this rod had gotten put in my back, and that this rod actually was taking up real estate and had a place inside of me. And I had never, I know it's shocking, but I had never really thought about the idea that I had a relationship with the rod in my back. Now, again, it was like, but it was very profound. And so when we work on timelines, those are the kinds of surprises that can come. So I hope you will go download that. I will be talking about timelines every time we get together. And as we dive in, we'll pick one particular thread, and I will show you some of my work on mine up close and personal, like up front. Okay. Everybody taking a breath. I heard that everybody heard my wand, so I'm going to do it again. Here we go. So, all right, we are in the final 5 minutes or so of the show. And what I would like to do, I want to make sure, also at the downloadable space, we have a playlist for you that's all about Extraordinary Ordinaries. And I also would like to show you, what's my next visual there? Oh, okay, before we show that. So to me, any kind of art of any kind helps you stay in the consciousness process, because you're accessing parts of yourself that are not like in the linear intellectual, like must be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so anything you can do that supports you in that is worth doing. So I thought I would show you a little book that I've done at my desk over the last 2 or 3 years, as a way to show you how your drawings don't have to be anything other than just you doing it. So go ahead, let's show that video. Okay, just so you all know, this is me, and I'm showing you. So that one says inquiry, for those of you who can't quite see it. And then that was like a button and a door, because I think about doorways all the time, right? And then a heart. Oh, how could you not have a heart, right? This is important. We really think about the flashlight on the self all the time. So of course I had to draw a flashlight, like always focusing on what's inside. I don't know what that go thing was, but I think that's a like under, and then of course boxes, right? Right. We all get ourselves in boxes and get the lid on there. And this was my practice with shaping things. Oh, look at my amazing ear there, and listening, right? Listening is such a part of growth work. And this was my wild person. She kind of reminded me of a little caterpillar. I don't know. This won't go on too much long. And then I had to do a butterfly for transform, right? And you'll see that I don't actually have all the little pages done. There it is. Oh, yeah. And then I went back and showed you another one. I got, as I ran out of obvious things, I had to come up with different things, tears. I started this in the middle of all the pandemic and everything. Okay. All right. I think we're done. Oh, we'll show you this. This is can we come back to that? We'll show that in a minute. All right. This is a coloring page, which you can get and download. And of course, that's our Expedition Self virtual bus that takes everyone to base camp. And yes, there is an entire world of Expedition Self that's been created, but not yet available. And so we thought this was really fun with that very cool sun up there that looks like it's got Kundalini spiral energy going on. All right. Okay. I think we're done with that one. All right. Let's see, what was I going to say? So I wanted to show you this. So this is how big this book is. And it has this little wrap thing, but I thought you'd like to see. So even if you did it on napkins, right? Here's my little book. Even if you did it on napkins, or if you put a different color on a piece of paper every day, any kind of self-expression without assessing whether it's good or not, that is actually important. Super, super important. All right, this last one, I wanted to show you the timeline piece that you could download. It's just like of a promo so that you could see it. And so you can go download that as well. Okay, well, here we are. We are at the end of the first premiere live stream consciousness show. And I hope you liked it. I had a good time, and I'm glad we're done. So I can take some deep breaths and enjoy the having gotten this far. For those of you who get our email, I talked about how I used to cry when I first did the radio show for months and months until it got easier and easier and easier. And all of a sudden at the end, it was like, okay, I think I'm ready to try something different or do something different. And I have a great team around me that helps a lot. And so thank you so much to all of you. And I hope you have a wonderful month until we see you again. Our next date of airing will be an interview actually on the 14th of May. And on the 21st, we will be coming back with another variety hour on growth work. And our focus is going to be on truth and honesty and all the different dimensions and angles that go along with that in terms of keeping your growth work alive. So, all right. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening. And please write me if you'd like about the show at Expedition Self. Hello at expeditionself.com.